Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now I'm going to show you how to make a corner to corner blanket. Now this corner to corner stitch is exactly what it says. You start in the corner and you do your rows diagonally and it comes out absolutely beautiful. The pattern is really pretty as well. You can do this in any colour like I've said. I'll show you how. Once you've got it as a square, you can keep it as a square. You can do a square as long as the bottom and the top are exactly the same number of blocks. Now this corner to corner is done in a block and I call it like going up steps because that's what it is. You do your row up that way, so you're working like this and you build blocks on top of each of the steps. As you can see here, there's a block on top of each one as your row builds up. Now don't think, if you're a beginner, don't think you're not going to be able to do this. I explain exactly how you start it. Once you've started it and you've got 3 or 4 rows done, you'll catch on very, very quickly how to do the rest of it, and it's really, really pretty. So today I'm going to show you how to do a corner to corner stitch. It's also known as a C2C. So for this corner to corner, I'm using this sparkle. It's really, really pretty. So I'm going to use this yarn to do my blanket. We need to start with 6 stitches. So I'm going to do a loop, a little slip knot. You can tie your yarn onto your hook whatever way that you need to do it. And I'm going to chain 6. So pull your yarn through, that's 1. Yarn over, pull through, that's 2. Yarn over, pull through, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're going to put a UK treble crochet. We're going to do 3 UK treble crochets. If you're in the USA, this is a double crochet, and that's the only stitch other than a chain that we'll be using is a treble crochet. And if you're in the USA, that's a double crochet. So count 3. Don't count the one in the hook. 1, 2 and 3. So into the 4th stitch, you're going to put a treble crochet, and we're going to put 1 into the next 2 stitches, so we have 3. So yarn over and into the next stitch, that's 2, and yarn over and into the next stitch, and that's 3. So what you have is you've got your chain of 3 here, that's the 3 you skipped, and you've got 1, 2, 3 stitches. So now you're going to chain 6. Chain 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now I found the easiest way to count these stitches is from the bottom. At the bottom of your chain, count 1, 2 and 3. That's the 3 that we have to miss. That will make a stitch. So if you count 1, 2, 3 from the bottom of your chain, here 1, 2 and 3, it's a little bit easier, and you know these are the 3 stitches that you need to work into. So 1, 2, 3, and you're going to put a treble crochet into each of those 3 stitches. So that's 1, then 1 into the next stitch, that's 2. As you can see, it's a little bit easier, and you know you definitely get your 3 stitches, and 3. Now what we have is this. Now this is where everyone gets stuck. A lot of people get stuck at this stage. What you have to do is the one with the tail, the set with the tail where you've got your chain of 3 and your 3 stitches. Take this one and tip it up like this. So what you're doing is you've got them, the two of them are down here like this. Take this one on the left and just tip it up like that. And what you're going to do is, in that chain space, that's your chain of 3, that's your 3 stitches, into that chain space, put your hook, pull your yarn through and slip stitch it together. So what you now have is this strange little shape. I'll show you that again. I'll take my stitch out. So you have it like this. You've got your two, it looks like a little pair of shorts. So you're going to take this one and you're going to flip it up. Keep that one down and that one goes up. And into that chain space there, put your hook and we're going to slip stitch these together. Pull your yarn through and slip stitch. And that's you joined your first part. Now into this, you're going to chain 3 now. 1, 2 and 3. If you have to, rewind the video, get your hook. The best way to do this is get your hook and get your yarn and crochet along until you get the hang of this. So we've done a chain of 3. Now into that chain space put 3 treble crochets. If you're in the USA, this is a double crochet. Put 3 into that chain space. 1, 2, all into the same space, and 3. You're going to chain 6. So we've done our first corner and our first row. So we've got our foundation corner and that is your first row. So now we're going to build up the way and come along and do another row like this. So this is what we have. We've got one corner and one row. So now we're going to do 6 stitches and we're going to do this next row here, this row that's here. I'll show you my work. I'll put it on the top of that one and that's what we have. So we're going to do the third row. Now like I said, this blanket is done diagonally like this. I'll just pop that back up there. So now you're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Again, count 3 stitches up from the bottom of your chain. 1, 2 and 3. That becomes your chain space, that one there. So put your yarn over and we're going to do 3 treble crochets, 1 into each stitch. That's 1, 1 into the next stitch, that's 2, and 1 into that stitch down there on the bottom, right in the corner. That's your stitch. So now you have it like this. Take this working part here and you're going to flip it up again. So you have it like this. You're going to take this one and just flip that whole section up, not that one, just those ones. And what you're going to do is you're going to slip stitch into that chain space there that's the closest to you. So you've gone from this to this and you're going into that chain space there on the top of that block. In, pull your yarn through and slip stitch. Now we're in the middle of this row, so we've extended our row again. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Into that space, you'll always be chaining 3 after you've slip stitched into there. At the end, you'll always do a chain of 6. So into that chain space, we're going to put 3 treble crochets. Build your next block. So we're going to build the next block in here. That's 1. Into that chain space. That's 2 and 3. Now you're going to slip stitch into this chain on this block. So we're working our way up like a little set of stairs. So into that chain space and slip stitch. Chain 3 to start the block. 1, 2, 3, and put 3 treble crochets into that chain space there. 1, 2, and 3, and that's you built another block. And that's us done row 3. So we've got the foundation row, your second row, and then your third row. So we're going to do the next row down, and again chain 6. When you get to here, you'll always chain 6 until you start to reduce your blanket. So it's chain 6 at the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Count 3 stitches from the bottom of your chain. 1, 2, and 3. You've got 3 stitches left there. Yarn over and put 1 treble crochet into each of those 3 stitches. We're building another block. 1 into the next stitch. Work towards your main part of your blanket, and 1 into that first stitch that's right there in the corner. So again, we're going to flip your work up, and we're going to attach this block to this one. So slip stitch through the chain, we're going through the chain of 3 and slip stitch. And that's your built. I've added another block to do the rest of the row. And as you can see, it looks like little steps. We're going to build blocks here, here, and here. Then you'll do 6. You'll do 3 treble crochets, flip your work, and you'll be back in this position, and you'll be building your blocks again. So if you've got your hook and your yarn, if you need to pause the video or rewind, then just pause the video and rewind. So now we're building a block. Chain 3 to build the block. 1, 2, 3. Into the chain space, put 3 treble crochets. 1, 2, and 3, all into that same space. You're going to slip stitch to the next block. Slip stitch through, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're climbing these steps. 3 treble crochets into that space. So that's 3 double crochets if you're in the USA. That's 1, 2, and 3. Slip stitch to the next block. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and put 3 treble crochets into there. 1, 2, and 3. And this is what you get. It slowly builds up on the diagonal. Chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count 3 stitches from the bottom of your chain. 1, 2, and 3. You've got 3 left there. So yarn over and go into that third stitch, 1, then into the second from the bottom, that's 2, and into that third one at the very bottom there. I found it's easier to do it from the bottom up. So now flip your work. Don't try and attach it to there, it won't work. You need to flip your work up. And now we're going to join the blocks and climb the steps up to the top. So don't turn that one that way. That one stays down. So this is the position that you're in. Flip that section up. And we're going to join this new block into this one. Slip stitch through and chain 3. We're going to climb these stairs now. We're going to climb up and make new blocks. That's 1, 2, 3. Put 3 stitches into that chain space. That's 1, 2, and 3. Join your blocks, so into the chain space. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 stitches into that chain space there. Make another block. 1, 2, and 3. Join the blocks. We're going to take a step up to the next block. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and put 3 treble crochet stitches into that chain space. 1, 2, and 3. So to join the block, take a wee step up, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, put 3 treble crochets into that chain space. 1, 2, and 3. You're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now into the third stitch, count 1, 2, and 3. Count from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, and put a treble crochet into each of those stitches. If you're in the USA, this is a double crochet, 1 into each of those 3 stitches, and 1 into there. So now you're going to flip your work up. It's getting bigger. So flip your work up, and we're going to join this block to this one. It doesn't get joined that way. It doesn't get joined that way. So remember, you're flipping your work and you're extending your row. A little bit fiddly until you get used to it. So into that chain space, slip stitch. So now we're going to build our blocks and climb the steps. Up we go, one at a time. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. So into that chain space, put 3 treble crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Join that one to that one, up a step, climbing these steps. Now we're going to build a block. 1, 2, 3, chain, 3 treble crochets into the chain space. 1, 2, and 3. Join into the next step and build a block. 1, 2, 3. Now 3 into that chain space. 1, 2, and 3. Climb the next step, so slip stitch into the next block and build your next one. 1, 2, 3, and slowly you're building yourself little steps in this blanket, and it's really pretty. It's really pretty. It's especially if you do variegated yarn. So 3 into the chain space. 1, 2, and 3. You're going to slip stitch into the top of that block. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now remember, you've still got a block to build here at the top of these steps. 1, 2, and 3. And then what you'll do is you'll chain 6, you'll turn it and you'll do your 3 treble crochets, you'll flip your work and climb the steps again. Just make a block, join it to the next one, make a block and join it to the next one, and work your way up the steps. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that one's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've done some more rows, as you can see, and I'm going to show you how to turn it into a rectangle so that we will just go straight up in a line on this corner, and we'll continue working higher on this side. So we're only adding on the one end, and it becomes a rectangle rather than a square. With a square, you keep it, say you're doing it 20 by 20, and then you start working in on both ends. But for a rectangle, you stop working on one corner and continue on the other corner. So what I've got here is, I'm going to stop when I get up here, and I'll show you how to keep it the right size. So I'll show you how to keep it into a rectangle. I'm going to do my 3 stitches just to finish this block. I'm going to finish this row and 3. Now I am not going to do my chain of 6. What I want is, I want it to stop here, and I want it to start working up the way but continue the height on this side. So I'm going to put a pin in. I've got a stitch marker. I'm going to put that in just here so that I know this is the side that I've not to put a chain of 6 on anymore. I won't put a chain of 6 on this side. What we've been doing is, every time we get to here or we get to here, we're doing a chain of 6 and building another row. I don't want to do that now. I want to start going straight across. To do that, don't do your chain of 6 on this corner. Turn your work, just turn it over, and you're going to slip stitch these 2 stitches here. So slip stitch into that middle one, just pull your yarn through and slip again, and go into that corner one here, slip stitch in, and there you go. That's you at the end. We're at that chain of 3 here. I'm going to slip stitch into that space, and what this has done is brought us across that block. So every time we get to this corner, we're going to slip stitch up, and you'll have a straight edge here on this one. Now if you need to, just rewind the video and you're slip stitching up here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We need to start our steps again. We need to build up the row and go up the steps like we've been doing. So we need to build a block in here. So we've done our chain of 3, and I'm going to put my 3 treble crochets into the chain space. 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to continue the row as normal. Slip stitch to the next block, chain your 3, 1, 2, and 3, and put your 3 trebles into your chain space. Slip stitch up to your next block, and we're going to build the blocks up all the way to the top. Now the one that does not have the pin is the one we'll do a chain 6 and we'll turn and work back down, and when we get to this side where the pin is, we're going to slip stitch up the last block. I'll show you that when we get there. So I'm going to work this row up just as normal till I get up to here, and then I'll show you what to do next. So this is the end we're going to go straight up. This is the end we're going to keep going straight up this way with, but this is the end we're still going to work to keep your rectangle going. So I'm on the last block and I'm going to slip stitch into my last one, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to make my last block. Now we'll still work this side with the chain 6 like we've been doing already. Because we want a rectangle, we've got to extend this side and keep this side straight. So I'm going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Count my 1, 2, 3, and put a treble crochet in each of those 3 stitches going down to the corner. That's 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to turn my work, just flip it over, and we're going to attach with a slip stitch, just as we normally do, because this is the side that we're going to continue working up. So we're going to continue making this one taller, and then this one's going to go straight up like that. So what I need to do is I need to work my way back down to the bottom row where my pin is. So we'll do what we've normally been doing. Do your chain of 3, 1, 2, 3, and your 3 treble crochets. And we're going to make our blocks all the way up the steps again till we get to this side. And when we attach here, we will just slip stitch across again. We're not going to do any chain 6. So to keep one side straight, you will not do your chain 6 on this end. So I've worked my way back down to the side that we're keeping straight. I'm just going to slip stitch to that block. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it, because we're not working this edge at all. We're only working this edge. We're doing our 6 here. We're just going to slip stitch across to that chain space. So we're going to slip stitch across to that chain space. So into that stitch and slip your stitch all the way along, 1, 2, 3, and then into the chain space. And then this is what we're getting. As you can see, this side of the blanket is going to continue to go straight. This area will get filled in, but the blanket on this side will just get taller and taller until you want to go across the top. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue to keep that side straight, but I'm going to actually bring this across the way to complete this little rectangle that we've got. I'm going to work my blocks up to the top, and I'm not going to chain 6 when I get to the top here. I'm going to slip stitch across, work back down, then we'll slip stitch across, work up, slip stitch down, and it's going to fill this section. But what I will do is I'll get up to the top. I'm going to work up my little steps up to the top, and then I'll show you slip stitching across this end. So I can take this pin out now. Now if you're making a blanket, you can make this as big as you want it. You can make it as long as you want it. You can do it square or you can do it rectangle. So this is how you do it as a rectangle. You would just slip stitch this edge but keep working this one. And when you've got it to the height you want, you'll start to slip stitch across and it fills in all this area here. I'll show you that once I've worked up to the top here. So we're continuing in a straight line on this side. And now I want to come across the way and fill in all this gap to make my rectangle. So when I've got up to the top here, I'm going to slip stitch to this top block like this. Then I'm going to turn my work. No chain 6s anymore. I'm not going to chain 6. I'm going to continue down here and then I'll slip stitch, go back up, slip stitch, come back down, slip stitch, work up, and that is going to make my blanket go across the top and then down like this. We're slip stitching into this next stitch, so it's no chain 6s. We're slip stitching across to this chain space. Now Muttley's doing a little bit of growling because the workmen, as you can hear, are outside and there isn't anything I can do about it. So I'm going to slip stitch into this chain space, and that is giving us a straight edge. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and do my next block. 1, 2, and 3. Now what that's doing is, as you can see, we're going to start working our way back up here, and we're going to have a straight edge and a straight top. And what we'll do, we will meet here. We will keep going back and forward, slip stitching across and slip stitching up each row till we get till we get to this corner. So I'm doing my chain of 3 and put my 3 trebles in here. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to slip stitch to there, and that's the blanket finished. I'll get my scissors, I'll cut my yarn, and I'm just going to pull my yarn through that loop. There we go. You'll continue up one side and slip stitch up the other when you want a rectangle. If you want it as a square, you'll slip stitch up the side and slip stitch across the top, until you get to that last square, like I showed you, like that. And that is how you do a corner to corner blanket, and it's called a corner to corner because you're working on the diagonal. So thank you very much for watching. Give us a try. Just rewind the video if you get stuck and press the pause button that's down here and catch yourself up, and then rewind if you have to. Once you get the hang of this, you will love it. You'll make more than one, and it's such a pretty blanket as well. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed already, and click on the bell icon, and YouTube will alert you when I put up another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.